Welcome to EPG Pathshala on the subject Social Medicine and Community Health. I am Professor Vidya-mitra working in the Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras University. I shall be discussing the module Water Security and Rainwater Harvesting. This module belongs to the paper Environmental Health. This module has been developed by a team comprising of myself as principal investigator. The module has been coordinated by Dr. Vidya-mitra, ex-professor and head, Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras University, Varanasi. The module has been written by me along with Dr. M.M. Majhi of the Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras University, Varanasi. And the content has been reviewed by Dr. J. Tandon, ex-professor and head, Department of Community Medicine, IMS, BHU. The learning module that has been set for this module after going through this, one should be able to describe the status of water security in India, able to list drivers for future water challenges, and so one should be able to enumerate water resource potential in India, and one should be able to state rainwater harvesting and different methods of rainwater harvesting. As far as distribution of total water is concerned, ocean comprises of around 97.5% of the water. Glaciers, snow and ice caps constitute about 1.725% of total water, whereas groundwater just accounts for 0.075%. Lakes, swamps and rivers 0.2025%. The word water resources just described clearly shows that the fresh water for human consumption is not much. In the last century, the world population tripled and the use of water grew 6 times. So, water consumption had been nearly much more than the actual population growth. It is estimated that by 2030, the demand for water will be 40% more than it is currently and 50% higher in the most rapidly developing countries that include India and China. Population increase is likely to lead to mismatch in the demand and supply of water, and by 2030 the world population is projected to reach 7.5 billion on the low estimate side, and it is estimated to be 9 billion if on medium estimate by the year 2050 from the current level of 6.7 billion people. This was given by United Nations in the year 2004. These estimates were given in the year 2004. The bulk of population increase will be in countries already experiencing water shortages. Such a situation as far as water supply is concerned is going to be seriously jeopardized in coming future. As far as water security in India is concerned, we would like to first discuss what is water security. Water security is said to exist when all people of the country have access to water in sufficient quantity and quality to meet livelihood needs throughout the year without prejudicing the needs of other users. The last part of the sentence is very important, that it should be able to meet both in terms of quantity and quality livelihood needs throughout the year without prejudicing the needs of other users. India accounts for 2.45% of the land area and 4% of the water resources of the world population. And India's population is roughly 1/6 of the total population, around 18% of the global population. And we have just only 2.45 of land area, and we have 4% of water resources of the world population. With the present population growth rate, 1.9% or 7 to 8% per year, the population is expected to cross the 1.5 billion mark by 2050. Expanding water demand and growing economy plus climate change leads to major threat to water security. And if there is a water security persists, there will be severe damage to livelihood. So there are three important processes. One is expanding water demand, and besides population growth, even the industries and other growing economy and climate change that is leading to water security, and that becomes a hindrance to livelihood. According to United Nations Human Development Report 2006, beyond scarcity, poverty, and the global water crisis, water availability per person supply was decreasing, while at the same time the amount of water that each person was using demand was increasing. In this graph, we are discussing per capita water availability in different countries, and the figures are 3 points particularly we would like to see: 1960, 1990 and 2025. Then 1000 cubic per meter is taken as the unit, and the figure clearly says that Africa, world, Asia, Middle East, Northeast Asia, all countries had water availability ranging from nearly 4 to more 15,000 cubic meter. Middle East and North Africa has the least. Asia was in between, and Africa had more water. But in 1990, the range has shrunk from 2 to around 8, and it's likely that by 2025, the entire range of water availability in different countries just mentioned will range from 1.5 to around 7,000 cubic meters. So the point that emerges here that nearly the water availability has been halved from 1960 to 1990, and it is likely to be jeopardized by the year 2025. Overall water demand will increase from 552 billion cubic meters to 1050 billion cubic meters by 2025, as per the estimates of World Bank 1999. The per capita water availability has dropped. In 1947, over 5,000 cubic meters per year was the water availability. In 1997, it became less than 2,000 cubic meters per year, and it is estimated that by 2025, further drop will be to around 1,500 cubic meters per year, which is below the level at which water stasis is considered to occur. 1,500 cubic meter is the threshold, is the cutoff value where water stasis is considered to occur. India's 20 major river basins below the water scarcity threshold of 1,000 cubic meters per year. The McKenzie's report 2009 clearly states that water demand in India will grow to almost 1.5 trillion cubic meter principally driven by the population growth and the domestic need for rice, wheat, and sugar. The agriculture sector consumes a large proportion of water, and current water supply is approximately 740 billion cubic metric meters. So the water gap is estimated to be around 50%. Drivers of future water challenges are several, but the most important is development and economic growth. Both the developmental process and economic growth in terms of industries, development in agriculture sector is likely to consume more water, and they put water challenges in the future. Continued population growth is another important factor, and inadequate conservation and storage. That's a third important point, recycling of water. Inadequate conservation and storage. In India, 200 cubic meter water, China 2,000 to 3,000 cubic meter conservation and storage facilities, United States 6,000 cubic meter of water storage capacity per person. So there is a tremendous variation in India, in China, and UK. Huge wastage in every sector. That every sector must conserve water. A lot of emphasis is going on, and that every sector must take into consideration the water conservation systems in their area of activity. Low per capita distribution is another problem. Inefficient use of water across sectors, no proportional increase in water availability, and an even increasing demand. The agriculture sector has been the largest withdrawal of water. Water for irrigation in India is expected to increase by 68.5 trillion liters between 2000 and 2025. Demographic and economic factors playing as driver force for the water use in the agriculture sector also. Value of agriculture exports of India have tripled from 0.56 billion in 2000 to 18.1 billion in 2000. Sectors hold the key to water security in India. This has been well established fact, and that is why each sector, water conservation, water security, the responsibility of each and every sector, be it industry, be it agriculture, be it rural development, and so on. Change in consumption pattern of agriculture products is also resulting in increase in water usage. Rice, wheat, and sugarcane together constitute nearly 90% of India's crop production and are the most water-consuming crops. States with the highest production of rice, wheat are expected to face groundwater depletion of up to 75% by 2050. Thus, in totality, water consumption and management in the agriculture sector has a profound effect in future water security. During the last 6 decades, the grass irrigated area increased from 22 billion hectares to 85.5 million hectares, nearly fourfold rise in terms of expansion of agricultural land for irrigation. Water withdrawals from irrigated farming represent 85 to 90% of total water uses of the nation. Overexploitation has resulted in serious depletion of groundwater tables in many parts of the country. It is estimated that in 15% of irrigation area of land, the annual extraction of groundwater exceeds annual recharge. Source of water for irrigation in India. The 1950-64, 1960-69, over the years we have 2000 and 2004 and 2005 and 2009. Initially, when the water source, surface water, earlier it was the gradually we see that the groundwater extraction has increased from 30 net irrigated area average percentage 30%, 32% to around 60%, and surface water has declined and other sources of our irrigation have remained stationary. So there has been significant decline, perceptible decline in the use of surface water for irrigation in India, because most of the surface water have been not available. There has been huge extraction, almost doubled in terms of percentages of groundwater for the purpose of irrigation in India. Annual abstraction rate for groundwater in different countries. We see that abstraction kilometer cube per year, and India has 251, the highest figure. Then China and USA 112, Pakistan 64, Iran 60, Bangladesh 36, Mexico 29, Saudi Arabia 23, Indonesia 14, and Italy 14. This figure says that about 72% of the global groundwater abstraction takes place in these 10 countries. So 10 countries, and India had the highest, almost double of China. And if you combine India, China, and USA, these three countries can take care of annual abstraction rate. If they are able to reduce it, it will make a significant impact. These are the figures that are referring to the year 2010. Now, changes in the level of groundwater. This diagram clearly shows that there are certain parts of the country. Uttar Pradesh has been lucky because it has 70% of the water, but the state of Punjab, ground extraction is much, and ground extraction is more than the recharging system. Same is true for Rajasthan, Haryana, and many other countries. The extraction rate is more, but certainly the situations are slightly better in Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, in comparison to Punjab, Rajasthan, and Haryana. Impact of global warming. Climate change, most uncertain factor that may affect the size of this gap. Accelerated melting of Himalayan glaciers affects several of India's river systems, particularly the Indus, which relies on snow melt for nearly 45% of its flow. But the increase is paradoxical. Immediate increase in flow due to snow melting decreases 30 to 50% in long run. So once snow melt is there, it increases, and then after some time it decreases to 30 to 50% level. Water resource potential of the Indus and some of the other river basins in India, that is river basin, catchment area, average annual potential in the river, and estimated utilizable flow excluding groundwater. Indus up to the border, catchment area 321 square meter, average annual potential in the river 73.31 in BCM, and utilizable flow excluding groundwater is 46. Ganges, Brahmaputra, Meghna River, 1997 is the square meter kilometer is the catchment area, and average annual potential in the river is 1110.62 in BCM unit, and utilizable flow excluding groundwater is 274. Ganges 86, Brahmaputra 196, and Meghna 42 square kilometer is the catchment area respectively, and average annual potential in the river is 525 in Ganges, 537 in Brahmaputra, and 42 in Meghna River. And utilizable flow excluding groundwater is 250, 24, and Meghna, the value is not available. Basin-wise flow and storage capacity up to the 9th plan had been Indus, basin-wise average annual flow 73.31, Ganges 525.02, Brahmaputra 525.02. Storage capacity 16.67 BCM, 60.6 in Ganges and 11.6 in Brahmaputra. Low agricultural water productivity and efficiency in India would make severe supply-demand gaps with currently planned crop choices. This is based on the report Charting Out Water Future by 2030, International Water Resource Group 2009. Water security for India is emerging as an extreme urgency. Water security for India implies effective responses to the changing water in terms of quality, in terms of quantity, and in terms of uneven distribution. There is a need to shift in narrowing understood framework of water management to a broad-based and wide-reaching water resource management. Because, as the earlier discussion clearly highlights, that the supply and demand gap as far as water for human consumption is concerned, or water for use in agriculture sector is concerned, or water for general development is concerned, is alarming, and therefore water resource management becomes of paramount importance. This will require treating river, particularly the Ganges, Brahmaputra, Meghna, and other Indus in a holistic way. So, after discussing the situation of water security globally as well as India, and with special reference to particularly our country, we have to think in terms of recharging mechanisms or conserving water resource, and rain is the principal source of water. Therefore, rainwater harvesting becomes very important. Rainwater harvesting is defined as activity of collection of rainwater and storage of rainwater, as well as other activities aimed at harvesting and conserving surface and groundwater, preventing of loss of evaporation and seepage and other hydrological status and engineering interventions, aiming at most efficient utilization of rainwater towards best use for the humanity. Rainwater harvesting is the collection and storage of rainwater for reuse on site rather than allowing it to run off. So most of the rainwater is just goes as a runoff and goes into the river and then finally ultimately in the ocean. But here the purpose of water conservation, rainwater conservation, is to store the water at the place so that it can be reused on site. Methods of rainwater harvesting can be classified into two ways. Rooftop harvesting, that's number one, and surface runoff harvesting. Basically, it has been classified into two ways. Surface runoff, when rainwater flows on the surface of earth, is called surface runoff. It is the excess amount of water that cannot be absorbed by the Mother Earth, also called overland flow. Now, suppose examples are ponds. Water that flows on the surface is directed to the large pond for further use. But if it exceeds that, then the water will just run off. Rock catchment. Water from the large surface of the rock can be directed and collected within a rock, as given in this figure. Rooftop rainwater harvesting. Rainwater is captured when it falls on the rooftop of the building or a house. The roof serves as the catchment area, and from where rainwater directed to a tank or other storing pots. It can either be stored in a tank or diverted to artificial recharge systems. Components of rooftop rainwater harvesting are catchments, that is on the top roof. Then we have transportation system. Then we have fresh flush covered storage reservoir filter, and outlet tap from where the water can be stored at a particular place. Catchment area is the surface which receives the rainwater directly at the rooftop. This actually determines the amount of water for harvesting. Roof of a house mainly serves as the catchment or other surface area, courtyard and terrace. Transportation. Water from the rooftop is directed through the drain pipe to the storage system. So on the rooftop, whatever water is collected, that is directed through the drain pipe to the storage system, and that water can be used in future. It is better if the pipes are of ultraviolet rays resistant. Gutters and downtake pipes are needed for the water from the slanting rooftops. Wire mesh to check the floating materials should be fitted with the drainage pipe. If the water mesh system is not there, then many articles can go in the pipe and choke it. When the water from the rooftop is passed through the pipes, there are many problems in the water that is initially collected. And the initial part of water has a lot of contaminants, because in the roof there will be many particles, many items that may contaminate the first flush. And that is why it becomes important that water collected with the first shower, it should be discarded, as this water contains the contaminants from the rooftop and to avoid possible environmental contaminants. So when we are contemplating for storage of the rainwater, we should take care that the first part of the rainwater should be discarded, because it's likely to be contaminated. For this purpose, a flush is fitted to the reservoir tank, and the mechanism should be fitted with all the outlets, so that the initial part of the water, initial contaminated water, which is known as first flush, is taken care of. Now, there should be filters also that will, ideally the filter is placed at the top of the storage tank and made up of sand, gravel, nettlon mesh filter may be used for this purpose. And once this filter is kept at the place, many times larger particles are taken care of and they settle at the top and only water trickles down. Filter is the important of the part of the whole system, because it will trickle down many solid particles, many water after the first flush should be allowed to enter the filtering process. So one has to take care that the initial first flush should not be put on the system, because this will allow, this will contaminate the filtration process. This may choke, because many particles can come directly in this. Advantage of filters are prevent turbidity, excess color, and microorganisms to some extent for entering into the storage system. So filter has a very important role to play, as it does in case of water purification for a larger for human consumption. So turbidity is taken care of, excess color is taken care of, and some of the microorganisms are also taken care of by filter mechanisms. Types of filter can be sand gravel filter, PVC pipe filter, and sponge filter, and charcoal filter. Basically, we can classify filters into 4 categories. And sand gravel filters, water passes through this and impurities are taken care of. PVC sand gravel filter So on the top there is a sand, then filter, gravel, and then purple. Then we have PVC filter and sponge filter, as well as charcoal filters. Each type of filter has different properties, and depending on the situation, depending on the availability of finances and other things, these filters can be used. Use of rooftop rainwater harvesting, direct use, recharging groundwater aquifers. This can be used. Recharging of bore wells, the recharging pits, recharging of dug wells. So, rooftop rainwater harvesting can play a very significant role in recharging many things like groundwater aquifers, bore wells, dug wells, and pits. So just to summarize what we have discussed here, that the principal source of water for human use is very limited, because most of the water, 97% of the water, is present in the ocean, which is not being used for human use directly or indirectly because of high alkalinity and salts. So whatever water we have for human use are accessory things that like agriculture and industries and other developmental activities. Their use is increasing day by day just to meet the needs of growing human population. And therefore, the supply and demand equation for water is increasing day by day. And per capita availability of water for human use, either direct use or indirect use, is decreasing. And this is posing a very serious threat. So it becomes important that rainwater, which is the principal source of water for human beings, ideally it so happens that most of the rainwater just passes off as a runoff, and therefore there is a need for preserving those water in ponds, in lakes, and other places, other systems. But what is more important, that at ground level, recharging mechanisms is disturbed, and for agriculture purposes and for human purposes, the groundwater is maximally being exploited. So recharging mechanisms should be established, and the best way approach would be to do rainwater harvesting. On the rooftops, a system should be made that water is collected, and through pipes it can be placed to the water should be stored at a particular place. And not only that, a mechanism should be evolved that the rainwater itself recharges the groundwater, so that, and in that process you have to reduce the runoff water, and if that is done, probably recharging mechanism will be there. And on the other hand, we have to enhance the total potential of surface water, because surface water is also getting depleted. Surface water once has been the principal source of agricultural activity, for developmental activities, for industries. But nowadays they have depleted so much that everybody is depending on at the groundwater. So unless the groundwater recharging mechanisms are established by rainwater harvesting, probably there will be more catastrophe as far as water security is concerned, globally as well as in India. India's situation is more precarious because water security is more jeopardized in our country because of huge population growth. India contributes to, as I've said earlier also, that 18% of the total population, and it just has only 4% of the total water for human consumption. So, unless we take care of this by the process of rainwater harvesting, things will not improve. Thank you very much for visiting EPG Pathshala.